today?
James, I find days like this really hard because essentially what you're thinking through is the financial implications of a horrible tragedy of what happened on Friday, and it is very difficult. And unfortunately, we have seen tragedies in the past before, not exactly of this scale, but certainly we've seen the reaction in terms of markets. And while we do see a short-term hit to sentiment, longer term we do know that it's fundamentals which do come back to rule the markets. I guess if we have a look at today, there were some safe haven plays on the market, and if we have a look at safe haven plays in terms of currency, this means the Japanese yen, the US dollar, as well as the Swiss franc, and that's why you're seeing the Aussie dollar lower against the US currency. And in terms of other assets, that usually means gold as well as bonds, and we've certainly seen that as well. The gold miners doing well on the market. St Barbara mines up by 7.8%, even Newcrest up by 2.8%. On the flip side, in this type of environment, travel would be impacted. So Flight Centre was down by 2.3%. Even Mantra, which deals in domestic accommodation, down by 1.9%, and Webjet down by 1.1%. And then, of course, the airlines, we saw Qantas down by 1.7%. We saw Virgin down by 6.5%. But on the flip side, it was those beaten down areas like the energy and the material sectors, which really saw bargain hunters quite active. And BHP, after starting the session below that $20 mark, seemed to find support above $20, and we saw it in the black for a lot of the session before finishing down 0.6%. And Santos and Energy, which had been sold down quite heavily in the morning, in fact Santos was down around about 3%, saw quite a stunning turnaround by the afternoon. Santos up by 4% in the afternoon. We also saw Origin up by 3%. So altogether a difficult session, some safe haven flows, but on the flip side we did see some bargain hunting going on as well.
Scott Phillips. Julia, it's difficult to go past in terms of a negative mover. Mesoblast Day down just shy of 40%. Is it really all to do with a disappointing listing on the Nasdaq, or is there more at play?
It's that disappointing listing on the Nasdaq. Remember, Mesoblast has been in a trading halt for more than a month now because of this Nasdaq listing. And look, biotechs have been a difficult space in the US. I think the last 5 IPOs on the Nasdaq that were biotechs didn't manage to reach the price that they were aiming for and didn't manage to raise as much money as they were hoping for as well. So it looks like Mesoblast no exception to this rule. Now, they were hoping to list their American Depository Receipts, or the ADRs as we call them, on the US market at $12.10, and that's US currency. They got it away at $8, which if you translate that into local price, because it is for every 5 shares, that equates to about $2.25 per share. Remember, Mesoblast before the trading halt last trade at $3.41. So unsurprising that when they did come back from that trading halt, we did see a big fall in terms of the shares. The shares down a massive 38% today. Now, I guess Mesoblast, in terms of its actual business, nothing has really changed. Celgene bought in, which is a US company, in April for $3.82. Back in 2013, we saw Instos buying into the stock at $6.30, and Cephalon back in 2010 bought in at $4.35, all premiums to where we saw the share price today. However, on the flip side, we know with biotechs, it's a roller coaster ride. And with Mesoblast, they're probably looking at 5 stage 3 clinical trials. They're very expensive. It's about $40 to $50 million a pop. So looking at 5 of them, and without real revenue coming in through the door, they have a little bit of revenue which is due in the first half of 2016 because the Japanese government has allowed fast tracking of some of the stem cell products out there on the market, but it's not a substantial amount. I mean, the other biotech is Star Pharma, and we know it more because of the Viva gel more than anything, but this is actually to do with the their ovarian cancer product. It was a preclinical trial that had some fantastic results, 100% regression as well as a 100% survival rate, and the stock managed to jump a massive 24% still in that biotech space. I remember Star Pharma, 3 or 4 years ago, I think it was in 2012, the first kind of results came through from its Viva gel. They weren't good, and the stock falling around about 30%, and now look at Viva gel now with that contract with Ansell as well. So we know the biotech space is a rocky ride, and it was certainly a bit of a roller coaster ride for both of these stocks today. One good and the other one not so good.
All right, great.